Hey everybody, this is Katrina, the owner of COS Marketing Agency, here again for another video. Today we are going to talk about the very important subject of top tier SEO strategies for service-based businesses in 2025. So this is going to be particularly impactful for service-based companies. In particular, we're talking about construction, we're talking about real estate, we're talking about cleaning, we're talking about pest control, we're talking about really anything in 2025 that involves providing a service, typically in a local area, even if it's across a certain amount of cities. We're not talking about e-commerce or anything that involves not a direct connection with the client, right? This is more kind of in-person or community building related work in that nature. So on that note, if you have a service related business, stay tuned. If not, go ahead and look at one of our other videos. Remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It really helps us out, helps the algorithms notice us, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post, which is literally every single day. Free strategies, information, how-tos, pro, cons, on and on. We got it all here. If you have a small business, you do not want to miss out. All right, let's get right into it. Thanks for your patience, guys. Now, let's start with what's new this year for SEO, for service-based businesses. Firstly, Google's algorithm is now moving fast, right? We used to have yearly changes, then it became multiple times a year. Now it's just kind of sporadic, and things are kind of ebbing and flowing. But what we know is going to stick around, what is true, and what's going to stay that way for the entirety of the year, is mobile speed being something that is, and the mobile experience overall is now something that is absolutely essential. It's not going anywhere, guys. Too many times I look at websites nowadays and it looks just fine on my computer, my desktop, but my phone, there's links out of place, stuff is not optimized correctly to a phone. I'm looking at it and I can't see the same information, it looks off. And that right there is killing about 70 or 80% of your business right there, guys. I mean, maybe more. You got to think the majority of people are still on their cell phones. Not to say they're not going to potentially see you on a desktop or something else, but you got to think what your audience is doing. They're on different devices constantly. Phones, computers, laptops, TVs. How are you going to get where they're connecting with other people, right? No matter how we feel about it, right, that means they're going to be on social media. A lot of us have a lot of feelings about social media, but we can't deny that our audience is there, right? You have to be able to optimize your content for cell phones. Your website needs to be fast and it needs to be very cell phone friendly. Keep that in mind. Also, think more in terms of local with your SEO strategy. I know some of you marketers are still going to listen to this, even though I'm saying this is not for you. So just keep in mind, local with the SEO is very important. All right. Google in general, they're just boggled down with all this information, all these different things going on. They want to focus kind of more on setting people up locally. So this is great for a service-based business. Local SEO kind of being more of a thing driving forward. But that's just something to keep in mind, using localized keywords and also the way you're connecting with people too. Keep that in mind. It's all about the culture of your area as well. Again, content is still driving results, it's still driving sales. It might not be the lead generation source for you, but it's a big part of this. You guys think you can skip out on brand awareness when that is a big part of your lead generation campaign. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and try it without it. See how it works. I'm telling you, in 2025, you can't completely skip out on social media. Do you need to necessarily post every day? No, it's about quality and consistency, but you gotta be there. Presence is everything with social media in 2025. All right, so let's talk about some pros and cons when it comes to SEO for service-based businesses in 2025. Pros. Well, you can theoretically do SEO marketing, especially if you do it aggressively, and you might not have to run any ads, or very little in terms of ad spend in comparison to your competitors. Why? Because you're using these different search functions, leveraging them the right way so that you come up faster and quicker. And there are a lot of people who just skip through ads. They just don't want to see it. So unless you're doing something that's organic, literally and figuratively, they're not going to necessarily even really notice you're there if they're those kinds of people. And it's growing. It's not everyone. Ads are still the predominant because they work. It is what it is, no matter how we feel about it. And also, having these things also builds trust. A lot of what goes into organic SEO strategies is not just about keywords and ones and zeros anymore. That's kind of gone the way of the dodo. A lot of it has to do with content. Also, a lot of it has to do with reviews and organizations that are backing you. Like, let's talk about the Better Business Bureau. I've made lots and lots of posts about them. You didn't hear me talk about it years ago. I knew it was there, it was great. Now it's huge in terms of trust building with your audience, and Google is directly looking at that. Visibility and trust, those are two big things, and credibility for a third. Also, it helps you stand out. A lot of your competitors are being lazy. They turn on an ad and they shut it off or whatever, and they're just kind of doing the same thing, right? If you can't outspend them, out-creative them. Come on, guys, just something to think about. Cons, let's talk about cons. It takes time. This is the biggest con. A lot of people say, oh, forget about it, I don't want to wait. Instant gratification is not what's going to win with your SEO strategy. It's quality and consistency, especially the consistency. It ain't going to happen overnight. No matter who's behind the wheel, you, me, anybody, best marketing company in the world. Google's going to take some time to catch up with some of this. But that being said, things are easier than they've ever been. You have free content like this as a resource, right? You have lots of other places to look at, lots of other great agencies and YouTube channels and all kinds of stuff. There's never been a better time to get that information to help you with that consistency, or hire the right people for you. That's another thing. Also, another con is because it's always growing and changing, it can be technical if you're not plugged in and you don't know what you're doing. But I recommend, especially for service-based businesses that are very busy forward-facing with their clients, they have to be there to do the estimates or to oversee certain things. That world is typically not suitable for them. It usually makes sense to hire somebody in-house or an agency. We obviously have a bias of that. We're going to tell you to hire an agency clearly, but let me tell you, when you do that, you're also working with another owner who's committed to you. That's just something to think about. Whereas somebody in-house, I don't know, you could just be a check on the resume, That's my feelings about it anyway. Plus, you also typically end up hiring people for more money in-house than you would an agency. It just kind of depends on the situation, but for the most part. So that's the skinny on SEO and some pros and cons. Now, I have made a lot of videos about this year in particular because I find that a lot of you guys are not educated on what's new with SEO. There's a lot of fake information out there. There's a lot of old information out there that's still kind of floating around. I want you guys to have the new and the latest and greatest. So make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure that you get notified, hit that notification bell so you know when we post about SEO or anything else you're interested in. We've got lots of other topics that we post about as well. Now, I'm going to end this part of the video with the strategy. If you want to stick around, we're also going to have a free tutorial where we're going into step-by-step how to do certain things related to SEO. I'm not sure at the time of filming this what I'm going to put in there, but you will have a tutorial at the end of this if you want to stick around. I'm going to continue to make like a whole series of stuff on SEO, in particular the offsite SEO business listing stuff. A business listing is technically any place where your business is placed on, right? Where you have a profile for the business. You could also have a personal and a business profile in some of these places, sometimes one, sometimes the other. You can just have a personal, it just depends. The idea is we get our clients placement on as many websites as possible that Google holds in high regard. If it has high search value, it's compliant with Google, gets a lot of views, we want to be there. Another one that comes to mind is Dun and Bradstreet, which is very similar to the Better Business Bureau. It's basically like the Better Business Bureau, but it's free. You just go through a little bit of a vetting process. Even then, Moz is probably not going to pick up these profiles in most cases, because in order to have a business profile, you have to be in those industries, right? If it's the golf one, it has to be a golf ball brand or a golf facility, whatever you want to call it. This would be for a school. This would be for a restaurant. Everything else should directly connect into Moz, with the exception of some on the second page, which are the out of the country based ones. And actually,
finance, legal, and insurance. This one is a mix of stuff that you have to be a lawyer and others that you can have a public profile. And I know kind of health related industries, it isn't just a big traffic site, so that's not a bad thing to have. And
Right.
then travel event stuff, that's going to go there. I'm probably going to get a lot more of that too. Same, because they know, and this is my speculation, they know they got good search recognition and people want placement on there. They're
Right.
also going to get a lot of bots.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that it's legit. I know I'm going to put this under the map and lifestyle section here. So I'm going to go here, put that there or something like that. If you have that kind of old school
Yeah.
Google IP, it's almost like real estate. You have some of these old IPs that like are worth that kind of investment. But also it's hard to sell because then they get so expensive. A lot of times they still need like an aesthetic overhaul that's just next level.